Hey everybody, it's Norm from Tested.
And Frank from Tested.
Frank, I'm super excited today. We're at DesignerCon 2015, otherwise known as the most dangerous place for our wallets.
I left my wallet at home just because of that.
Oh, I wish I did the same. Anyway, we're going to speak to artists, sculptors, designers, and talk about their projects. So much cool stuff inside, so let's head on in. Hey, so I'm here with Kyle Kirwan, and you have a booth here showing off not only your art and your figure, but also some collaborations. There's so many artists and designers here, and you met online, and it's so cool to see some collaborations. So let's first talk about your piece and your art. What what's your design?
So this is we call it a Willo figure, and it's just a character based out of a story I'm developing. And this is sort of just like a cow. They're just sort of everywhere and just all these different things. And it was really just a way to sort of come up with like a different color palette for different ways. And within the world of door, they sort of represent different like superstitions locally for different people and stuff, which was a fun way to sort of play with the idea of colorways and stuff for like designer toys.
Right.
But, this
it's
figure,
a beautiful figure.
Thank you so much. This figure, I hand sculpted it. And then I cast it in resin myself. So I rotocast it, which means it's hollow. And to do that, we sort of hand turn it in a few different processes. And I can make it sound really complicated, but the basics of it is just a hollow resin, hollow plastic figure. And then we hand paint them, and I hand paint them. My girlfriend helps a ton with sort of picking up little details here and there that I need help with.
And so I was drawn to the booth because I saw the figure. It's beautiful, striking. Love the antler horns. But then also, you have a whole collection here of other figures based on this Willo character, but in collaboration with other artists. So how did that come about, and what's the project?
So in making these figures myself, it was quite a learning process, and I was not very good at it at first. And so I messed up a whole bunch and had all these sort of incomplete figures or half-cast figures, as we would call them, that had to, for various reasons, couldn't work, or it would be too time-consuming to fix up and release as one of these. So they had like holes, or they were too thinly cast in parts, or they didn't cure in places that I had to like clean them up. But the material is really expensive to work with, and I didn't want to just waste them or throw them away. So I held on to them and took a big pile, a big stack in the corner of my studio for a little while, and had no idea what to do with them until talking with a different artist, sort of just randomly figuring out that he's like, you should bring them back from the dead, like do something with them, bring them back from the dead.
Yes.
And I was like, bring them back from the dead? Like, yeah, it's zombie, like a zombie, and we just sort of born let's just do a theme show, a theme custom show about zombies, and work with the broken parts, work with the bad bits that happen. So I reached out to a few artist friends online, on Instagram. Some I'd met in person, some I'd never met. I just really liked their work. I knew that some people were better at sculpting and painting, so I specifically sought those people out because I knew some of the pieces were going to be really hard to make presentable, and they pulled it out. They worked with it. Like George's piece here had a big hole in the side,
right? And
so he worked with the figure and
totally embraced it. You got the entrails coming out. It's beautiful. It's a unique paint job, and I love that you said the artists were so receptive. Even people who you just knew online, they wanted to make it their own.
It's really amazing that people were really excited. Like I had a couple artists that kind of put some of their like day-to-day work aside and stepped in and started making these right away, which is sort of unique. Usually there's like a timetable. Like you're like, all right, well, 2 to 3 weeks, I'll have this, and then I'm working on this piece right now, and people were really excited and jumped these to the front of the line, which was unbelievable. I was sort of blown away by it. But they really embraced the idea of working with the limitations of the broken figures.
Yeah, and we've seen like art projects like this. Galleries will sometimes do it, bring together a collection of artists, or a company like Kid Robot or even Lucas will send out stormtrooper helmets or something, and you're just doing it because it's out of necessity. It's like you saw your box of parts, and you say, hey, let's do a show.
Yeah, and I was really, really blown away by the people that, I thought people would be like, well, I'm not going to work on a broken piece. Like, that's not going to work for me, or, I can't do that. And everybody loved it. They were super excited to take, take this sort of figure and work with the idea that, like, oh, well, I have to replace a knee or I have to replace a leg. And I think people were maybe excited at the fact that it was already sort of messed up, so they could have more fun with it, maybe.
Yeah.
Like Joe's piece over here, Joe Whiteford, had a big hole in the stomach, and he's like, oh, what comes out of a hole in the stomach? A little alien symbiote thing, and tore it apart. So it was great. It was really fantastic that happened.
And it's a mix of people, artists that maybe some people are familiar with, like Double Parlor, love their work from San Francisco, and also friends of yours who are maybe just out of art school, so they could like share their work alongside more established artists.
I mean, I obviously have a long list of artists that I'm like a huge fan of that I wanted to work with, and for this show, I particularly reached out to sculptors as well as painters, like sculptors/painters that I knew would be able to work with, a platform that wasn't totally perfect or didn't stand on its own some of the time. And so people really were receptive to the idea to come in with that. Even some of the more established artists have come in and made these pieces their own, as well as like a friend of ours from New York, Miriam. This is her first piece, and she worked with the whole broken pit.
I love that.
Well.
Love the skeleton put in there.
As well as
cool.
like a guy I know, certain online. He's a teacher, sort of locally. Took this piece and cut it up. Like his had no legs to start with, and so he sculpted legs and made legs out of it. And that was because they were all excited to work on a platform that wasn't. It's not even a platform. It was just on sort of broken toys.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we all sort of started there as kids. Like we all had little bits and pieces of
kit bashing and
exactly.
putting pieces together, painting it up. Having fun. There's no pressure to it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When I reached out to these people, I was like, listen, let's have fun. Like I'm an artist. I'm not looking to like charge a gallery price. Like I just want to promote the community. I want to promote your work. I really like your stuff. I love the excuse to like work with people I like and sort of solidify some of those relationships. It certainly was good for me. It promoted this figure, promoted my art, at the same time. So it was really mutually beneficial. It was great. I'm totally blown away by the response, by what people have done and how they embraced it.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much, Kyle,
thank you so much
for chatting with us about this project.
Yeah.
Congratulations on a really successful, I think, project gallery here. Yeah. And you guys should all check out Kyle's work and the work of these other artists. Collaborations, meeting artists. That's what DesignerCon, I think, is all about.
Certainly a big part of it. Yeah.
Awesome. We'll see you guys on the internet. I'm Norm. Tested. See you next time. Bye.